Good morning and welcome to our college assembly. Please stand as the official party enter. Thank you. Please join in the singing of the Australian National Anthem.
Please be seated. We pause to remember the uniqueness of our land. We acknowledge and respect the generations of Dharawal people who held this land in their dreaming, and we pay our respects to elders past and present and emerging.
In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord God, you gave us bodies as well as minds and hearts with which to praise and worship you. We gather in prayer to thank you for the gift of life and the talents for participation in sport. Bless our workouts and the games we play. May they be a fitting use of the gifts and talents you have given us. In Paul's letter to the Philippians, he writes, I can do all things through him who strengthens me.
Lord, give us strength, endurance, courage, and agility as we compete or train. We ask for a field that is fair. If we should win, we pray that our faith and our honour is held high, and if we should lose, that we stand with grace by the road and cheer as the winners go by. Most of all, help me never to quit in my efforts to be open to you, for I believe that accepting you into my life is the way to real life. I pray that I become the truly human person you destined me to be. Amen. St. Martin and St. Gregory, Mary, our good mother, and let us always remember. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
This morning at the College Assembly, we will be recognising a number of individuals and some teams for their performances during the summer sporting season, as well as presenting two first teams prior to the commencement of the winter sporting season. To begin our assembly today, please welcome the college principal.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Brother Ernest. Good morning, staff. Good morning, parents who have joined us this morning. Gentlemen, we're joined today by a very special guest, Mr. Brett Emerton, who's sitting next to me on stage. And I know that Mr. Cook, as our sports coordinator, will officially welcome Brett to our audience today. Brett is a parent here at the college and a great visitor here, and we welcome him. Brett and I had the opportunity to meet back in 1998. He can't remember it, I certainly can, because it was a great time in my career. And I was appointed to an assistant referee's position in an Ollaroos game that Brett played in up in Lismore. And I remember the goal that he scored there. It was absolutely fantastic. Do you remember that goal, Brett? No, he wouldn't remember that goal. It was absolutely fantastic. I was crossed again here last year. I remind him of the fact that I think I called him for a couple of fouls in that particular game, and he frowned at me at that time. But it's good to have you here, and we can certainly catch up on those stories from time to time. Gentlemen, I want to begin by talking about the coronavirus. And I want to begin in this way because it's something that we need to all be considering. So I had the opportunity on Wednesday to participate in a video conference with Mrs. Underwood, our nurse, when we were addressed by the Chief Medical Officer of New South Wales Health. And for that hour that we sat and listened to that video conference, it was quite alarming to hear some of the statistics around the spread of the coronavirus. The coronavirus is spreading at a rate of approximately 1 is to 2.5. And while the cases in Australia are minimal at the moment, in the opinion of the Chief Medical Officer, it's on an upward trajectory. Now, we have a responsibility as a college and as individuals as in this college to take some precaution around this. Already there has been some major cancellation of events that has impacted the college. Unfortunately, the overseas trip to Germany has needed to be cancelled. The Maris basketball in Adelaide has needed to be cancelled. And there will be ongoing cancellations due to the spread of the virus. You would be aware that some schools have also had periods of shutdown to allow New South Wales Health and the health officials to investigate those situations very fully and to ensure that it is safe to return to those schools. And in the opinion, again, of the Chief Medical Officer, there will be no doubt that school closures will continue to occur. Overseas, the coronavirus has taken an upward trajectory, as you would realise. Many sporting events have been cancelled. We were only talking at the back of the auditorium before we walked up here about the cancellation of the NBA season, football matches being played in empty stadiums, etc., and the list will go on for a period of time, because we're nowhere at the peak of this at the moment. Now, some of the simple things that we can do, and these are the things that we're asking you to help us implement, is good hygiene. It's about washing hands, it's about sanitising. We have increased the amount of cleaning of the classrooms over the last couple of days, of desks, surfaces of desks, handrails, doorknobs, etc., because the virus can be spread through those surfaces. But you need to take some personal responsibility around this, and we ask you to have good hygiene, washing your hands regularly, sanitising as necessary. If you do have any respiratory or flu-like conditions, that you don't come to school on those particular days, and you monitor that. That doesn't mean you've got coronavirus. I mean, when we think about this virus, it is flu-like. It is a strain of an influenza. So we've just got to be careful about how this spreads. If you are in a situation where you're mixing with elderly people, they are more vulnerable. there is less cases of this virus impacting younger people or people in their earlier ages, but certainly more impactful for people in their elderly ages. So please be mindful of that. If you're asked, to wash your hands or asked to sanitise, and we will have sanitiser for all the teachers as soon as possible to take to class with you, please follow those instructions. Now, the second part of that is obvious about if there was to be a school closure. And a school closure is brought about by New South Wales Health instructing us to close. So it's not my decision in the end whether we close or not. It is New South Wales Health's decision. So in all of the school closures up to this point in time, it's been a matter of New South Wales Health instructing, whether it be the Department of Education or the school or the diocese, if it's a Catholic school, to close their school. Some of those school closures for a day, some of them are for multiple days to allow the necessary work to be done. But if there was a school closure here at the college, in the next couple of days we'll certainly have an education, what we'll call an education continuity plan that will be rolled out to you. But in the interim of giving you that, please be mindful that you will need your computers. If the school was to close, you will need your computers at home, you will need to access your email. For the majority of you, you are on Google Classroom, and teachers would be instructed at that particular point in time, if there was a school closure, to try and provide some sort of continuity of learning. So, and that's really, really important that we do that, and it's really, really important that you understand that and be willing to accept that if you were at home, that there would be some formal type of lesson at a distance being given to you. So it's a difficult situation. The landscape of coronavirus changes every single day. We're trying to keep abreast of that and take the best possible advice we can. So we will certainly keep you up to date, and we'll certainly keep your parents up to date around that particular issue. Gentlemen, the other thing I wanted to mention to you today is obviously we're here to acclaim many of our teams and individuals who have done very well in the summer season of sport, and that's appropriate and important that we do that. And I congratulate not only the players and the individuals in all of those sports, but their coaches and their managers who have done a fantastic job, and today really should be an acclamation of that. And as we set up for our winter season, it's great that we have Brett here to present jerseys to those particular players who will represent us in the coming season. Finally today, gentlemen, I just wanted to make mention to you that earlier this week I said to the staff at the beginning of week 7 that it is appropriate, absolutely appropriate, that they are in class, that we don't have disruption, that we don't have disrespect, that we have on-task behaviour. And it's quite sad that this afternoon 13 young men from our community will join me for the principal's detention because of their disrespect and their ability to disrupt others in class. Now, 13 out of 1,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but 13 is way too many. In the first week of doing this, that is way too many. And I think we've all got to take stock of the fact that we come to class to learn, first and foremost. We don't come to class to disrespect the teacher. We don't come to class to disrupt the learning of others. And that's got to stop. 13 is way too many, and I'm sure there will be other students who are on the verge of being part of a greater number than 13. Now, our teachers work extremely hard. They're dedicated, and they want the best for you. There is no doubt about that. And you've got to respond in a particular way, and that particular way is showing your respect. So we've got to lift our game in this area, gentlemen. And I would hope that that starts and continues for the rest of the year. And let's cut down on this time off task and get on with the real job of learning. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McMaster. college sport coordinator will now speak about the recent college swimming carnival and the MCS summer sports season. He will be followed by the Saturday sport coordinator, Mr. Spencer, to speak about the ISA summer sports season. Please welcome Mr. Cook and Mr. Spencer.
Good morning, all. Once again, we can come together as a college community, and as that community, we can celebrate the sporting achievements made over the past few weeks by our college MCS summer teams and by the individuals through our representative pathways. We are joined today by our local legend who has represented our region at the highest possible level in the world of professional football. Would you please welcome Mr. Brett Emerton to the college? Mr. Emerton will be involved throughout our assembly in acknowledging our various individuals and team acknowledgements, as well as taking part in a Q&A episode later on. He will also present our winter MCS football and winter ISA rugby union teams, their training kits or playing kits for the season. We will move into our first group of student achievements. Could I please ask our age champion swimmers to move to the side of the stage, please? Our college swimming carnival was held a few weeks ago, and as such, the elite have been stood up and been counted. Would you please congratulate to the stage and keep your applause to the end our age champions for 2020, 12 years boys, Jackson Coleman from Donovan, 13 years, Jackson Smith from Molloy, 14 years, Oliver Pullen from Killian. Equal 15 years age champions, John Demek O'Connell from Donovan and Joshua Parrish from Killian. 16 years, Christopher Seaton, Killian. 17 years, Flynn Grahala, Donovan. And our open age champion, Hayden Cortis from Molloy. As for Champion House, the points have been stacked up, and in fourth place at this year's Swimming Carnival on 3,590 points is Donovan House. In third place on 3,776 is Laurentian. 600 points out in front of those, 4,383 is Molloy. And could I please welcome House Captain of Killian, Cody Salter, to claim this year's Swimming Carnival trophy. Well done to Killian and our age champions. Our next level of swimming will be the MCS Swimming Championships held next Wednesday, the 18th. We wish our team of 30 odd students all the very best for their events. Our second group of recipients are our MCS Summer Sport Premiers. Could our MCS Summer Sport Premiers please move to the side of the stage? Our first team is the Year 8 MCS basketball team. The team, coached by Mrs. Giles, placed equal first at the end of their competition and faced off against St Dominic's in the semi-final. After trailing by 14 points with 4 minutes to go, the team dug deep and defeated St Dom's by 9 points, a massive 23-point swing. The boys then faced off against Blacktown in the final. After suffering a 2-point loss in the first MCS round game, the boys were ready for a tough battle, and led by final MVP Mason Hunter, the team overcame Blacktown to win the MCS Premiership by 6 points, the college's first MCS basketball title since 2007. The Year 8 MCS basketball team comprises of Lucas Donnelly, Brody McClelland, Chasen Mulholland, Isaac Sykes, Lachlan Barry, Nathaniel Gallagher, Dylan Sharp, Cooper Clark, Taj Stapleton, and Captain and MVP Mason Hunter, who will present Mr. McMaster the Year 8 Premiership Trophy. Our next group of recipients are the Year 8 MCS cricket team and the college first grade cricket team. If they could please move to the side of the stage. With the MCS cricket finals being completed yesterday, I'm pleased to announce that the college has 2 MCS premierships for 2020. For the Year 8s, after finishing the MCS season on top of the ladder, the Year 8s defeated the second college team in the semi-final before meeting St Dominic's in the final yesterday. It was a close encounter, but Greg scored 4 for 120 after the 20 overs, and the bowling attack was ruthless and they dismissed St Dom's for 6 for 87. Could you please welcome the Year 8A MCS cricket team, Aidan Richards, Daniel Canellis, Harrison Collins, Kobe Holland, Braden Murray, Archie Knott, Lincoln Parmiter, Nicholas Platts, Mason Rope, Jack Spragg, Jeremiah Wagg, Ben Taylor, and Captain Isaac Gasson, who will present Mr McMaster the Premiership Trophy. Special thanks to Mr Bingham, who coached that team. The next MCS team to be introduced is our college first grade cricket team. The team for the 2019-2020 season has competed in the Marist Carnival, where they were runners-up, the MCS competition and the Downie Shield competitions. I'm very pleased to announce that we will be adding 2 trophies to the cabinet this year, as the team defeated MacKillop College in the Downie Shield final last week, and yesterday winning in an All Gregs final in the MCS competition. Please welcome to the stage the first 11 cricket team, Harrison Quinn, Manoj Weerasingham, Hayden Tipping, Lachlan Campbell, Liam Sutton, Max Clissold, Brian Handanuthi, Kane Truman, Jack Slane, Jake D. Tommaso, Josh Shipley, and our captains, Sanjeev Weerasingham with 1 trophy and Joshua Campbell with another. Coached by Mr Stephen Bullock and assisted by Mrs Jenny Farris, would you please congratulate our first grade cricket team? If the next group of students could move to the side of the stage, they are our New South Wales CCC representatives and New South Wales All Schools representatives. Over the past 7 weeks, several students have trialled and competed at New South Wales CCC trials or competed at New South Wales All Schools Championships. We have been blessed to have a number of students make it through to the next level. Please welcome to the stage our pathway representatives. For New South Wales All Schools Triathlon, we have Cody Salter and Joel Offord, who both received bronze medals in the individual competition. Cody, Joel and then Flynn Grahala also received the CCC silver medal in the teams event. We've had 3 students selected in the CCC under-19 cricket team, Liam Sutton, Joshua Campbell, Kane Truman, and 1 student in the under-15 CCC cricket team, Riley Kingsell. We have had 2 students selected in the CCC softball team, Evan Wolfe and Joel Byrne. And only selected 2 days ago, students into the New South Wales CCC volleyball team, Mark Ombina, Alex Pukowski, Vic Leprestia and Nick Lepresti. We've also had 2 students that made shadow positions for the CCC volleyball team in Peter Lynch and Ryan Searle. Would you please congratulate our MCS winning teams and our individual pathway representatives?
Brother Ernest, Mr McMaster, Mr Emerton, staff and students. Last weekend completed an enjoyable and quite successful summer of Saturday sport for the college. This season we had 5 teams compete in Division 2 of ISA basketball, a senior cricket team play in the ISA competition, and a junior cricket team play in a local competition as part of the Collegians Club. Our ISA cricket team had an undefeated season up until the grand final against St Stanislaus College in Bathurst last weekend. Rain during the week forced us onto a synthetic pitch for the match. St Stanislaus won the toss and elected to bat, amassing a total of 230 runs. With the challenge set, our boys got off to an ideal start with Sam Cramp and Harrison Quinn putting on a 130-run partnership. Matthew Canellis added a further 49 runs in his innings, but in the end we were all out for 224. Well done to all players for an excellent season, and special thanks to Mr Morrissey for taking over the coaching mid-season after Mr McGinnity's departure at the end of last year. Our under-15 cricket team also had a very enjoyable season with the Collegians Cricket Club. The season was mainly about participation and enjoyment. However, the boys did make it through to the semi-finals. Unfortunately, we weren't able to compete in that game due to the free weekend and the Canberra show commitments the boys had. But the stocks of Saturday sport cricket certainly looks good with these boys coming through. 3 of our basketball teams made the semi-finals, the under-14, under-17 and first grade teams. Our under-14s were outclassed on the day, but they never gave up. The 17s and first grade team both secured hard-fought wins. On grand final day, our under-17s put in a superb effort, but fell 4 points short of the opposition. Well done to those boys on an excellent season. Our first grade team had a challenge on their hands on grand final day, taking on Redlands College from Mossman. Redlands were the match favourite going into this game because they'd beaten us twice during the season. In Mr Fox's words, the coach, they had a cracking first quarter of play. St Greg's let Redlands know they were in for a challenge as we took the lead 20-18. The second quarter was very tough, with Redlands taking back control and going into half-time with an 11-point advantage on St Greg's. We managed to score 63 points in the second half and held Redlands to only 39, which resulted in a St Greg's win, a comfortable win, or 93-80. Highlights of the game included an incredible 8 3-pointers by Blake McKenna, with a game total of 30 points, and Dylan Reuters was unstoppable force with 33 points. It was a great team effort by St Greg's to win this game with excellent sportsmanship on display. And so it gives me great pleasure to present the first grade ISA Basketball Division 2 champions to the college. Blake McKenna. Billy Pay. Max Lawson. Chandler Villanova. Riley Anderson. Darcy Pullen. Dylan Reuters. And co-captain Michael Zapier, with his other co-captain Lindsay Munro. And they'll present the shield to Mr McMaster. Congratulate these boys. And not many of you would know Mr Fox, but he's down here. He's been coaching basketball at the college for 17 years. Mr Fox works over in boarding, so you don't get to see him over here too often, but he's here today to be with the team, and just want to acknowledge him and his coaching over such a long period at the college. So well done to Mr Fox.
Today we bring back a tradition of celebrating student achievement by announcing our college first grade teams for the upcoming winter seasons. To be selected in the college first grade team that competes in MCS, New South Wales CCC competitions or other state knockout competitions, it is a great privilege and responsibility, which so many students strive for over their schooling career. Those students selected in the first grade teams possess those skills and abilities necessary on and off their respective sporting arenas that demonstrate what it means to be a member of the St Greg's community. To assist me today in recognising those students who have been selected in the college first grade teams is our guest, Mr Brett Emerton. Brett is a local Campbelltown boy who played for the Gunners Football Club in the local MacArthur competition. He signed his first contract with Sydney Olympic in 1996 at the age of 17 and saw a lot of action in the men's first grade team. In 2000, Brett left Australia to sign with Dutch giants Feyenoord for 3 years at the age of 21. At 24, Brett then signed for Blackburn Rovers and spent the next 10 seasons in the English Premier League competitions. And to cap off a stellar career, he spent the final 3 years with Sydney FC before retiring in 2014. He represented Australia 95 times, scored 20 goals for Australia, and was a key member at the 2006 and 2010 FIFA World Cups. Brett was known to be one of the hardest working players throughout his career. He was super fit, very technical, and displayed an unrivaled drive to succeed. Once again, can I please get you to welcome Mr Brett Emerton. That gave me goosebumps. All right. So we're going to engage in some quick questions. Brett, thanks for your time today. To get started, you go to the pub. Are you a steak or a chicken man?
Oh, tough questions already. I'll go with... I love both, to be honest, but I'll go with steak.
Okay, very good. Ronaldo or Messi fan?
Jeez, they are tough questions, aren't they? Messi.
Okay. Who was the biggest star you matched up against?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
And did you kick him?
I tried to, I couldn't get close enough.
Okay.
But funnily enough, we made our debut in the Premier League on the same day against one another. So there you go.
Okay, very good.
But he's still playing and I've been retired for 6-7 years. So.
But you could still be playing?
Not quite. I'm
Not
too
quite.
old now.
Okay, very good. You have a long list of achievements which I just mentioned. What was the standout for you?
I think for me the pinnacle of my career was two things. Achieving my dream of playing in the English Premier League. So to spend 10 years there was really a dream come true. But I think any athlete who plays any sport will tell you the highlight of your career is always being able to represent your country. So to be able to play 95 times for Australia and participate in 2 World Cups was something really special.
Okay, I'm going to jump down a few questions now. What's more important, the name on the front of the jersey or the name on the back?
I think they're both very important, but the name on my back. I think obviously I'm representing my family and the people who are closest to me, so every time I go out there on the sporting field I try and remember that and do those people who are closest to me proud.
Very good. Why football? What was the attraction for you?
I think football was the one sport I loved. I grew up playing many sports. I did athletics, swimming. I tried my hand at everything. But I think at the age of probably 13 or 14, I made the decision that football was the one for me. Obviously, I was lucky enough to be pretty good at it, but I loved being in a team environment and working hard with other boys around me.
At such a young age when you've made that decision, how much work was required, dedication, desire, and then to be rewarded with your first contract?
Yeah, a huge amount. Lots of sacrifices along the way. At the age of 15, I made the tough decision to move away from home, and I went down to Canberra to the RAS and spent 2 years obviously training several times a day to eventually achieve my dream of signing a professional contract at the age of 17. And I think when I signed that first contract at 17 for Sydney Olympic, that's when I knew that football was going to be my career and my life for hopefully the next 15, 20 years. And as it turned out, it was, and I was very lucky to have been able to achieve that, but there were so many tough times along the way as well. But I guess the message I'm trying to tell the kids, especially in sport, it's never a smooth ride. It's a roller coaster ride. It's filled with plenty of ups and downs, but it's important that you realise that you never give up and you just keep working hard and going for what you want to achieve.
You've just mentioned the roller coaster. My next question was, everyone has setbacks in their life. What was one major setback you experienced, and how hard was it to stay on track physically, mentally, to get back to the pitch?
Yeah, I was quite lucky throughout my career. I didn't have too many setbacks, but one was probably my first major injury. I had an ACL, which is a knee reconstruction, which put me out of the game for 12 months. So it was probably the first huge setback I had, but I tried to turn it into a positive rather than a negative, and I used that time to work on my body and come back bigger, stronger, faster than ever before. One thing I never really did as an athlete as well is watch what I ate, and I guess
It shows. You look terrible.
No, I was quite blessed as an athlete. I was always athletically gifted, so I thought, well, I don't need to watch what I put in my mouth. But when I was injured, I thought, well, now I can't play football for 12 months. Now I need to really watch what I eat. So I focused on the nutritional side of things as well. And 12 months later, at the age of 28, I come back bigger and stronger and faster than ever before.
Yep. Very good. There was a documentary called November 16 about the World Cup, and Australia made it to penalty shootout, and you actually came off with cramps. How devastated were you that you missed out on, because you were set to take a penalty?
Yeah.
How devastating was that?
Oh, I was happy. I didn't have to deal with the nerves of the nation on my shoulders. But at the time, yeah, obviously disappointed. And like you said before, I think fitness was one of my strengths. So to come off with cramp towards the end was pretty disappointing. But the boys eventually got the job done without me, so I wouldn't have changed anything at all.
Very good. How important is it to have your teammates back?
Yeah, it's very important, and like I said, one of the reasons why I chose to play football is because I love that team environment, and I think all the successful teams I was involved with always had a great team atmosphere, and everyone worked hard for each other and not just for themselves.
Very good. And last but not least, whether it be for sport or for life, what is one bit of advice that the kids can apply to their sport or professional careers?
I think if you want to be successful at anything, whether it's your schooling or your sport, you need to work hard at what you want to achieve. I played with many players, especially when I was younger, who quite possibly had more natural ability than me, but weren't willing to work hard to achieve their dreams. So one is to work hard and always believe in yourself. I think that's very important as well.
Very good. Thank you so much for your time. Boys, could you please would you please thank Mr. Edmonton for his time?
Thank you, Mr. Emerton, for your comments and for sharing your insights from your many experiences and achievements with us this morning. Thank you also for your words of encouragement and support, both in terms of academic and sporting endeavours. We now turn our attention to the upcoming winter sporting season. This morning, we wish to present two first teams with their jerseys. Firstly, we will present the first grade football team, followed by the first grade rugby team. We ask Mr. Emerton to present the players with their jerseys, assisted by Mr. McMaster, and we'll commence with the first grade football team.
So as mentioned before, this tradition of presenting the upcoming MCS competition, first grade teams their jerseys, is being revitalised. College first grade teams participate in MCS competitions, ISA competitions, New South Wales CCC sanctioned events, and other state competitions such as the GIO Cup. The College Rugby League team is still being finalised at this, and they will be announced at a following assembly in the not too distant future. But to start us off today, we'll announce the first grade football team: Lucas Rapatoni, Jacob Ryder, Tommy Mandarano, Alexander Mullen, Dominic Rajicic, Harrison Gelder, Declan Price, Max Liliano, Cameron MacDonald, James Hilton, Ryan Kidd, Owen Brunetta, Jack Slane, and Brodie Lound. Coached by Mr. Witten, assisted by Mrs. Sawyer and Mr. McMaster. Would you please congratulate our first grade football team?
The rugby union season officially commences this weekend with our annual rugby clinic here at the college. If any of you young men are considering playing rugby union this season, I'd encourage you to come along tomorrow to a training session next week on Tuesday or Friday afternoons, or to one of our trial games to experience what rugby has to offer. Our trial season commences on the 21st of March as we take on Marist Canberra here at the college, followed by St Joseph's also here at the college, and then Chevalier away. That's just before the Easter holiday break. Next term we play Cranbrook, St Aloysius, Waverley College and Riverview College before the ISA season commences. The following young men have earned their spot in this year's first 15 by committing to training since the 31st of January and competing in internal trials on Monday. There is plenty of rugby to come with a long season that goes through to August, but we wish these young men well as they embark on the season ahead and attempt to go one better than last year's runners-up. Alexio Valhea. Thomas Carroll. Cipriano Valhea. Patrick Starr. Jake Quadling. Thomas Cusack. Jack Nicholson. Jack is also this year's first 15 captain. Charlie Lennon. Ford Pasisi. Joseph Ward. Diesel Shepherd. Liam Fitzsimmons. Sam Cramp. Lindsay Munro. Billy Sainsbury. Christian Traino. Angus Herbert. Brodie Semler. Dylan Fabrash. Alec McDonnell. Matthew Canellis. Cruz Tweedy. James Sykes. We wish these boys and coach Mr Malasilia all the very best for their season.
Congratulations to each of the students who have been presented with their jerseys this morning. We wish them and their coaches all the very best for the upcoming winter sporting season. Please give your attention to Mr Brooks, who has some important information.
Good morning, Mr McMaster, Mr Emerton, staff and boys. Certainly been a great assembly, and I'd just like to add my congratulations to each of the boys presented with individual awards or the team awards, and to wish them all the best, or to thank them for their contribution for those that have competed in the summer season, and to wish all those teams competing in the winter season the very best, both in the MCS and ISA competitions, and to thank them for what they'll do, but also to thank the staff, the coaches that will work with them Mr McMaster's already spoken about the matter of the way in which we can give ourselves good protection in terms of the coronavirus. Boys, I just wanted to speak about one thing this morning. A lot of your parents and a lot of you have been speaking to me about the issues. It's a fairly mundane issue, I suppose, but it's important enough to speak about it just with the buses. A lot of you do rely on the buses to get to and from school. And a number of you, which is nice, have come up and very politely said, look, can you look at what's happening there, please, sir, because really a lot of us are relying on connections at the railway station or at the bus stops that the buses are taking us to. And this year's been particularly bad, and we're not blaming just the roadworks down on Bad Galley Road, but that's certainly a contributing factor. But just we're going to just try something a little bit different next week. Started trying to put that in place yesterday, and we'll do that again today. Those boys that have those priority passes, the boys that are on those 555, 2 and 3 buses that go to Campbelltown Station, and the boys on the priority Camden buses that have connecting services, what we're going to ask is if you wait for those buses on the new artificial grass area, which is outside the hall here, and all the other boys that are waiting for buses that aren't as urgent in their departure if you wait on the basketball courts. So as you know, boys, it's a lottery when the buses arrive in the afternoon. Every day it's different. We never know which bus is arriving in which order. But we do appreciate that we're going to try and help where we can and to get those priority buses away, even if it means having to load them if they're not parked in the bus bay. And that's why we're just going to ask for your cooperation. It will take a few days to get bedded down, but it's really important. And for those of you that aren't on those priority buses, who don't have an urgent connecting bus or train to get to, just be patient with us. It is taking us a little bit longer in the afternoons. We're doing our best. We're certainly going to try something to see if we can help the situation, but it requires cooperation on your part, boys, because things will have to be done a little bit differently. So we'll try and work on that this afternoon and certainly of next week. And it's an important issue, I know, to you and to your families, and I know a lot of you are very inconvenienced by it. Realise, of course, that some of those things are out of our control, but we'll do what we can within our control to try and help the situation. That's all I need to say to you this morning, and just once again thank you for your attention during this morning's assembly, and thanks Mr Emerton for your presence here and for your words in that Q&A with Mr Cook. Thanks, boys.
Thank you, Mr Brooks. Please stand and join in the singing of the Subtuum. Please be seated.